Okay, so now we're going to come up to a standing position, and I recommend if you have 2 blocks available, maybe grabbing them. And we're going to start with our feet nice and wide. So if you were to bring your hands out to about shoulder high, the feet should be approximately under the hands. It's a pretty wide stance. And then we're going to turn the toes out a little bit, and then take our hands in front of the heart. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up, and then exhale, bend the knees, and take the arms out and down. Okay, inhale, press up through the legs, reach through the arms, and then exhale, bending the knees, bringing the arms out and down, just like a plie. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhale down. So just a little gentle warm up. Inhaling up, exhale down. One more time. Inhaling up, and then exhale down and hold. So the arms are about shoulder high, palms down. Let the shoulder blades draw down the back. Lengthen the spine, and checking that your knees are tracking in line with your toes. If they're really rolling in, try to rotate your thighs outward to get a nice external rotation in your hips so that your knees are tracking in line with the toes. And if that or anything and all that we do here doesn't feel good to you, please, by all means, remember this is your practice. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If you'd like to skip something, feel free, or if you'd like to change something, that's fine. Okay, breathing deeply. Allow the breath to be full. So you're not forcing it, you just allow the breath to be smooth, flow in and out. Breathing deeply. This is powerful pose. Maybe feeling the legs working a little bit. If you like, you can lift one heel and then change sides, just alternating, kind of warming up the ankle a little bit. It's optional. And then hold the heels down. Take the hands to the hips and inhale as we straighten the legs. And take the toes to face forward. So now we're going to move into our first standing pose. We're going to rotate our left foot in. So the toes move in. The heel out a little bit. It's not huge, just a little bit. Then our right foot is going to rotate the toes out till it points towards the side edge of the mat. Okay, towards the right. Taking the hands onto the hips, and then we're going to slowly bend the right knee, and then inhaling, coming up, just warming up a little bit here. Exhale as we bend the knee, tracking in line with the toes. Inhaling back up. Having the hands on the hips, exhale, will help us notice if one hip is really higher than the other. Inhale, come back up. So we want to try to keep both hips about equal in height. And then exhale as we bend the right knee and hold. So the left leg is reaching back nice and strong, keeping the hips as level as we possibly can, so that we can actually feel like we're kind of weighted evenly between both feet. And then the right knee is going to rotate externally in the thigh enough that that right knee tracks in line with the toes and doesn't go beyond the ankle. Okay, so just trying to keep it right over the ankle. The hips might be not really squared. They might be out to an angle a little bit here towards the right, and that's okay. And then we're going to rotate the belly and the rib cage to face forward, and then raise the arms to shoulder high. And just notice if your head feels like it's forward. If so, bring the head back a little bit. And if you like, either keep looking forward or you can look towards your right hand. And breathe. Keep rooting through that left leg. Left leg nice and strong, very active. So we're pressing both feet into the floor. And then exhale, lowering the hands. Inhale, straightening the right leg. And then changing sides. We're going to rotate the right foot in. Toes in, heel out. And the left foot's going to rotate out so that the toes point towards the left side or towards the back of the mat, or the left side of the mat, sorry. And then we're going to bend the left knee, hands on hips. Then inhaling, coming back up. So trying to keep the hips even in height as you bend that left knee. Inhaling up. Exhale, bend. Inhale up. And this time, exhale, bend. And if you can, holding that for a few moments, breathing deeply, checking that that knee is tracking in line with the toes, not going beyond the ankle, beyond the heel. And you'll kind of know, if you push firmly into your heel, you'll feel a little bit of a different awakening in the glute, the hamstring, and the back of the leg a little bit. But you want to press it through the whole foot. But just pressing into the heel for a moment kind of awakens up muscles that might not be awake otherwise. And then keeping the hips level in height, reaching back through that right leg. There might be a little lift in the inner right thigh. And then the hips might not be squared. Doing that might cause that knee to come buckle in. So we want to keep that knee, that left knee rotating in line with the toes. So that might mean the hips have to shift a little bit. That's fine. But then grow tall, lengthen the spine, and rotate your belly and rib cage to face forward. And then if you like, raising the arms. Either keep looking forward. Notice if your head is in a forward position. If so, try to bring it back a little bit. And then again, continue to look forward or look towards the left hand if that feels good to you. And breathing deeply. And then exhale, releasing the arms. Inhale, straightening the legs. Taking the toes to face forward. And then heel toe the feet back together. And just rest for a moment, maybe shaking out the legs. Okay, and then we're going to come into triangle pose. Udhita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. So we're going to take our feet nice and wide. And this time we're going to rotate our left foot in quite a bit, about 45 degrees. So the left toes are going to rotate in about 45 degrees. And the right foot is going to rotate out 90, so it points towards the side edge of the mat again, just like Warrior Two. The only difference really here is that that back leg is rotated a little bit more than it was last time. Now, if you like, you can grab your blocks and place a block to the outside of your right foot and behind your left foot. Okay? So, rotate just like we did in Warrior Two. Rotate that right leg so that the thigh is externally rotating, and you'll feel that hip kind of come back. If you were to bend that right knee, you'll notice it would track in line with the toes. So you could even just test that a little bit, and then go ahead and straighten the leg again. And then drawing this right hip back, we're going to lengthen through the right waist, and then rotate the belly and rib cage to face forward, and taking the right hand to a block or to the shin, and raising the left arm. Breathing deeply. You can also place your hand on a chair. If the block is a little too low, you can use a chair here. Okay, breathing deeply. You just want to make sure that that right hand is not on the knee pushing down, okay? Instead, keep it either above and bend that knee a little bit, or keep it on the shin, block, or a chair. And breathing deeply. Now for the head, neck, you can either face forward, or notice if your head's kind of coming forward. If so, bring the skull back a little bit, and then looking up towards the top hand. Optional. Looking forward is just fine. When you're ready to come up, push firmly into both legs. Engage the belly a bit. And then on an inhale, reach up through that top arm. And then release. And then we're going to change sides. So we're going to rotate the right foot in about 45 degrees. And the left foot out 90 degrees. So the toes point towards the left side of the mat. Again, test that left knee by bending it a little bit. Does it track in line with the toes? If not, really rotate that thigh out so it does. So it would track in line with the toes, and then straighten the legs again. And you'll feel a real external rotation in this hip, in this thigh. And this hip is actually, left hip is actually going to kind of come back towards the right side of the mat. And we're going to reach to the left a little bit and lengthen left side of the waist. Reach out through the arms. And then exhale, either taking your hand to the shin, to a block, or if you like, to the chair. And the right arm is pointing up towards the ceiling. Keep both legs strong and active. If your hand is higher up on the thigh, soften that knee a little bit. If reaching for the shin just feels too extreme right now, just soften the knee and place the hand on the thigh. Otherwise, shin, block, or a chair, and breathe. Both legs are equally strong and engaged. It's very hard to find that back leg sometimes. It's very common in the beginning to really feel the weight more in the front leg. In this case, the right, left. Sorry, I'm mirroring, I get confused. That's the left for you. And then inhale, press into the feet, engage the belly a bit. And then on your next inhale, reach up through that top arm. And then releasing. And then taking the toes to face forward and bring the feet closer together. If you like, shaking it out. And then just stand with your eyes closed and just notice how you feel. See if you just notice a difference. And then opening the eyes. Okay, so now we're going to take Parshva side angle pose. So again, the feet are going to be nice and wide. If I was to bring my arms out, the feet should be about under the hands. And then we're going to rotate just like Warrior Two. We're going to sit up just like the first pose, Warrior Two, where we're going to rotate that left foot in just a little bit and the right foot out 90 degrees. And then we're going to bend the right knee just like Warrior Two. Now from here, you can either stay just like this, or you could take your right forearm to the thigh with the palm up. Now, it's very common to kind of drop into that shoulder. Try to resist that. Press down into the right forearm and at the same time lift up out of the right shoulder. So this arm is kind of pressing away. It's very active. We're not dropping. We're lifting. Engage the lower belly. Engage the abdominals a bit if you can, and then rotate your belly and rib cage to face forward. And then raising that left arm, you can either point straight up towards the ceiling, or you could turn the palm to face towards the right and extend the arm. For the head, again, either look forward or notice if your head is coming forward, chin kind of jutting forward. If so, bring the skull back a bit and then rotate to look up towards the right arm, left arm if you like. But keep the back of the neck long. If you like, you could take your hand onto the block again, just like before, on the outside of the ankle, or even a chair. Then inhaling as we come back up, press firmly into the feet, and we're going to change sides, rotating the right foot in a little bit, the left foot out 90 degrees to face to the left. Bend the left knee, tracking in line with the toes. Take the left forearm to the thigh. Press down, palm up. Press down into the forearm, lift up out of the shoulder. And then engage the belly a bit and rotate the belly and rib cage towards the right or upward towards the ceiling. And then extend the right arm. And breathe. Again, you can either stay here with that forearm on the thigh, or if it feels good to you, you can place it on a block or on a chair. You choose. And nice smooth breath. Inhale, reach, press down into both feet. Reach down through the legs. Lengthen the spine. Lengthen the arm. And then on your next inhale, keep the legs and feet really strongly engaged as you press and lift up. And then releasing the arms, taking the toes to face forward again. Outer edges of the feet parallel. Okay, and then we're going to take our blocks and place them in front of us for our wide-legged forward fold. And then hands on hips, so not on the waist, okay, but down here closer to the top of the thigh. Because you want to tilt the pelvis, so see if you could feel your pelvis. And we want to tilt the pelvis forward to initiate any forward fold. So we're folding from the hip joint and not the waist. So press into the feet, strong legs, long spine, lengthen the spine, and then we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and bringing the hands onto the blocks. Just coming halfway down. You can also place a chair and put the hands on the chair. That's fine too. If the blocks feels like it's a bit too far, then just take your hands onto a chair. Keeping the spine nice and long. Legs firm and active. Nice active feet. Make the feet as long and as wide as you can. Really spread the foot out like I'm doing with my hand. Really spread the feet out. Spread the toes. And then if you like, you can either stay just like this, or you can fold and take the hands with the blocks included underneath the shoulders, either with the high position of the block, medium, or low. Or you can even just take the hands onto the floor if that feels good. But the hands are about shoulder width apart. Notice that the shoulders are dropping towards the ears. If so, roll the shoulder blades down the back towards the waist and hug the elbows in such a way that they point straight back. And then inhaling as we come halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend your knees a little bit. Take the hands onto the thighs so you have a little extra support here. And take your time, especially if you tend to get lightheaded at all. Just take your time coming up to standing. And then taking the feet back together. Okay, so now we're going to do one more standing pose, and this is our first balancing pose. For this, you'll see that I have a version where you're lying on your back. You can actually do tree like that in order to find the alignment without worrying about the balance equation. You can also have your back to a wall to help you with balance, okay? But just doing what you can and being a little playful and not judging yourself too harshly. Just play. Okay, so we're going to start with our feet about hips width apart, hands on the hips, and then we're going to gently shift our weight over to the right and then to the left. Now, as we do that, just notice if our hips and pelvis are right under the rib cage, or if we're kind of doing this subtly, right? We want to keep the rib cage and the pelvis stacked on top of one another. So the pelvis is what shifts to the side, and the rib cage, the heart and lungs, stay over the pelvis as we move. This is going to help with balance. Your center of gravity is just a little bit above the pelvis. And so we want our center of gravity to shift and our rib cage to stay over it to the best of our ability. And now this time as we come over to the right, we're going to try to balance here. And then just take your time as you slowly lift the left leg and maybe raise it to about hip high. And just feel this for a moment. That outer right hip might want to pop out to the right. So hug that outer right hip in, keeping the hips about level, and see if you can feel like the heart and lungs are floating, are actually stacked right over the pelvis. And then lowering that left leg, gently shifting our weight over onto the left. Take your time, pelvis right under the rib cage. Slowly raising the right leg, and hold this for a moment. Hug that outer left hip. Hug that outer left hip in. So you feel nice and kind of strong in that outer left hip. And then exhale and release the right leg. Now we're going to take this into tree. So tree is a balancing pose on one leg. It's also a hip opener. So let's explore the hip opening for a moment. We're going to shift our weight over to the right leg, just like we did before. But instead of lifting the left leg, we're going to externally rotate it, which means that the knee is going to go out to the side and then come back forward, like a door opening and closing. Taking the knee out to the side, forward, to the side, forward. And just breathe. Inhale to the side, exhale forward. Inhale out to the side. Exhale forward. This time, inhale out to the side and hold it for a moment. And see if you can notice your right thigh is probably not pointing out 90 degrees. It's probably pointing out at about 45 degrees, a little bit wider than that perhaps. But you don't want this right hip, opposite hip, to swing forward. Try to keep this hip facing forward, or to the right, to the left. To the left, sorry, again, I'm mirroring, get confused. But the outer right hip wants to draw in, and we want to keep the right hip facing forward. Okay, to the best of our ability. Wherever this left knee goes is fine. Now you can either stay just like this, or you could take that left foot to the ankle and hands in prayer, or you could take the left foot to the lower leg, the calf, or if you feel like it, you could take it up to the upper thigh, inner thigh. Again, continue to hug that outer right hip in. Try to keep the hips level. Breathe. I know there's a lot. And if you like, you can also raise the arms and breathe. And then exhale, releasing the hands, releasing the leg, and shake out the foot. So you're really working that standing leg. Okay, so now we're going to change sides. So we're going to shift our weight over onto the left leg, hug that outer left hip in, keep it facing forward, bend the right knee, and just open and close just like a door. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more, inhale, exhale, and hold it for a moment. Kind of squeeze. See if you can feel that outer left hip engaged. Maybe the buttocks a little bit. So those muscles are going to be used. Okay? So now we're going to take this into tree. Either keep the foot on the floor with the foot just resting against the ankle or the lower leg. Or if it feels okay to do so, you can raise it to the upper thigh, the inside of the upper thigh. And then hands in front of the heart if you like. Another thing that can help with our balance is something called drishti, which is a looking place. So looking somewhere in front of you with a soft gaze can help also. And then if you like, either keeping the hands in front of the heart, or you can extend the arms up towards the ceiling, whatever serves you. If you do bring the arms up, just keep the shoulder blades drawing down the back a little bit. You're not forcing that, but just allow them to rest so we're not like kind of squeezing up here. Just allow there to be some space for the neck. And breathe. And then exhale, releasing the hands, releasing the legs, and just shaking out the feet. Okay? Okay, so now you can either lie down and take rest. Just take a moment to just sit quietly and relax for a few moments and just observe how you feel after taking this practice. Otherwise, I will meet you on the floor. Okay, so take a moment here to make yourself comfortable in a position where you're lying down on the back. And the arms are down by the sides, palms facing up. If you have that cozy blanket, go ahead and put that on you. And take a few moments here to just notice how you feel. Maybe scan through the body from head to toes at your own pace, and just notice if you're holding any habitual tension, and if so, just try to allow that tension to dissolve. Usually the exhalations are a nice opportunity to allow any tension to just kind of dissolve, to melt away. So just notice if there's tension, and with each exhalation, let it go. Softening the muscles in the face, especially around the jaw, around the eyes. Relaxing the shoulders, the arms, and the hands. Relaxing the belly and low back. Relaxing the hips, the legs, and the feet. And I'm going to leave you here in silence for a few moments, and then in a few moments I'll come back and lead you out of relaxation. But for now, just enjoy the quiet. If thoughts arise, just simply notice them and let them go. If you hear sounds around you, just notice them and let them go. Okay, so now just beginning to bring your awareness back to the breath, allowing the breath to become a little more full. Just allow the inhale, allow the exhale. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes, waking up the body a little bit. And then maybe on your next inhale, if you like, give yourself a nice stretch. Make yourself as long as you can. And then exhale as we release, bending the knees in towards the chest. Rolling onto your right side, unless for any reason that doesn't feel right to you, if a shoulder injury or any other reason, feel free to roll onto your left. But if it's comfortable, rolling onto your right. And resting here for a moment with your head on your arm like a pillow. And take your time coming up to a seated position. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. I sincerely hope that you feel well, that you feel much better than you did before you practiced. And I hope that you can bring this sense of wellness into the rest of your day. Namaste.